This is your daily real estate syndication show. I'm your host, Whitney Sewell. We are continuing the conversation again today with Ryan Tseko of Cardone Capital. He is their executive vice president. He's going to continue to talk about their investor relations team and things they are tracking that I know is going to be important to you, whether you're active or passive. But you're going to hear him elaborate on a number of things personally that I think, as anyone that's trying to grow personally or in business, is very important. All right, I hope the listeners will go back and listen to yesterday's segment. We were with Ryan then, and man, he laid out a number of things that they're doing at Cardone Capital to scale and their outlook over the next 12, 24 months, how they're scaling so quickly. However, today we're going to continue the conversation and talk about their team and a number of other things I know is going to help you, whether you're passive or active in this business. Ryan, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me back. I hope yesterday people found value out of that. And look, I think today it's just another building block where people can find success and really grow and scale their own companies.
No doubt about it, Ryan. No doubt. You know, you left us yesterday. We were talking about building out that IR team. Why don't you highlight that a little bit? What are the important pieces there on the IR team? Maybe some skill sets that they have, and let's keep going.
Yeah, and look, I think when people start really growing and scaling, the one thing that we all find ourselves is we run out of capital, right? So when you buy your first deal by yourself, you're like, oh, I want to do it 100% by myself. You run out of capital, and so you're like, okay, what do I do next? Like, you have to get ultra creative. In 2014, when the Jobs Act passed, and they created these new rules where we can start crowdfunding via 506B and 506C, and you got to follow the rules and non-accredited, you really have to start thinking about teams and processes and systems. So what we did at Cardone Capital is not only did we build out an investor relations team where it really started with Grant, Ryan, and then we had a few other people, because, guys, when you first start, you got to bootstrap, right? This isn't a get rich quick. This is a get rich over long periods of time. And the most important person in this whole process, I hope I am very clear on this, it is the investor. Mm-hmm. The investor is the most important person in this entire thing. The investor has to make money before the company does. So when you're building out a team and you're building out platforms, what we did is we started partnering with people where they already had a white label where people can go to the portal and they can see their investments and they can see the deals, because people want to see. When people are so accustomed to like the Vanguard and the Fidelity, those accounts, you have to build something out like that. I wouldn't start with that, but I would start thinking with, once you start getting 50, 100, 200 investors, you have to have a portal. Once you have a portal, you have to have a team now where people are calling in, because when people start investing 25, 50, 100, 200 grand, depending on your minimums, they want to start talking to people. So it's via email, it's via phone. I always tell my team, I now have an investor relations team of 13. I've got 30 people. I mean, I call them the SEAL team over here in Aventura, Florida. I've got a SEAL team of 30 people, but 13 of them are fully focused on paperwork, helping people fill out their paperwork, helping people transfer and convert their IRAs into equity trusts or something like that where they can invest in real estate. And it's full time. Like, they're calling people. We do, each person on the team, I've got 10 people outbound per day. Their target's between 100 and 150 calls per day. So we are calling people and following up. So 1,000 plus phone calls are going out from Cardone Capital each and every day. Because, guys, I hate to break the news to you. One ad is not going to raise 5 million. 2 ads is not going to raise 10 million. It is doing an ad, giving free resources, creating funnels, getting leads and calling them, and then following up and then explaining. Like, people aren't going to send you 50, 100, 200 grand just by a website. So websites are great. You can show a lot of cool things on websites, but you got to have the people. We built Cardone Capital because we have real people with real phone numbers. Like, I don't give out a 1-800 phone number. I give 305-407-0276. You can call or text me right now. I'll pick up the phone. Like, that's how these businesses are built, and that's how we built Cardone Capital.
I love that. I love just the personal side of that, right? And being willing to do that. You mentioned
everybody else, Whitney, sorry to cut you off. Everybody else is doing the complete opposite. Right. They're saying, hey, go and click this. We just launched this new deal. We just launched this new deal. Let it fill up. Those are the folks that aren't, like, especially in this market we're in right now. You have to even go more on the customer service standpoint, because people are fearful when all the headlines are blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah. Completely agree. You mentioned 10 people outbound per day, 100, 150 calls a day. I mean, that's impressive, over 1,000 calls per day. What's bringing those contacts in? What's in creating all the inbound to even have 1,000 people to call per day?
So, like I had mentioned before, the IRA book,
Okay.
I've got all my stats. Every single day I've got the stats, right? So we've got Instagram ads, we have CNBC, we've got different resources like the free real estate book, how to create wealth investing in real estate by Grant Cardone. So all of those different things create leads. It's very simple, Whitney. I mean, you know this because you're successful as well. It's very simple. It's not overly complicated. Give people what they want. People want to invest in real estate. Most people, what they realize is that real estate, when it's not scaled, it's a pain in the ass. When you buy your first 4-plex or 8-plex or 20-plex, you have to manage it yourself because it's so small. I'm not saying don't do that, because if that's what you want to do, you have to do that. You have to go cut your teeth in this business. But what most people want is they want deals now. They want cash flow and passive income now. And maybe they have a business. A lot of our people, they're employees, they're business owners. They just want to invest in these large deals and they want all the benefits. And that's like our company, that's what we provide.
Yeah, no doubt. I love your all's outlook on, just the whole customer aspect, customer relations aspect of it, because I agree so many are just turning the opposite way in a big way. What would you say is your all's biggest challenge right now at Cardone Capital?
Our biggest challenge was over the last 24 months, we've been very patient. The biggest challenge is when you don't have deals, people are, you're raising capital, you're raising money, and they're really truly believing in Grant Cardone. They're believing in Cardone Capital. So I don't think it's really a challenge because we do have a great base, but you have to remind the investors that patience in this type of environment over the last 18 months is really good, because now we're finding deals at a discount. So things are starting to ramp back up. But when you don't have deals to show people, the hardest thing in the world is to raise money without a deal, because people are like, well, what am I investing in? Well, what's it going in? Well, what's going in? And so we did a great job. Like, we launched the fund. It was a $150 million fund. We raised the money, not commits. We raised the money without a deal. But again, it goes back to, you just have to be more of service and explain more for people to know what the vision is, to trust what the vision is, and get their money in line, so that way they are invested in this next grouping of deals that we're closing on. And so we finally have deals, right? We finally have deals because we've been patient that we're working on. We're currently in due diligence on 2 deals. So it's starting to finally break free, and it feels good.
Yeah, you mentioned raising money without having a deal. Are you all taking money in at those times, even when you don't have any place to put it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because these deals, the deals fill up. Like all of our funds are oversubscribed, and so these deals, they fill up ultra quick. So like if people waited until we had the deal, they would miss it because all of this stuff's oversubscribed.
And then you all are ready to go pay cash.
And look, honestly, when you go to these when you're playing at the level, like I'm always blown away at what we've put together, because we're talking with the biggest groups, the biggest banks, the biggest life, we're operating on a high level. You have to have the capital ready to be deployed, and you can't go back and say, oh, well, we got 30 days. No. Here's proof of funds. Here's the balance sheet. Here's line of credit. Here's Grant. Grant goes out there and he goes and closes on these deals. And so, you have to have everything ready to rock, because this moment in time, it doesn't wait for anybody. Yeah. I think over the next 12 and 24 months is going to be one of the greatest buying real estate opportunities that we've seen in 15 years.
Yeah, I agree. But
you got to be, but you got to be ready. Like it's not spool up time now. It's go time now.
Yeah. What about, outside of the funds and some of those things like we talked about, what are some ways you all recently improved your business that we could apply to ours?
Have improved our business? What do you mean by that?
Ways you all have innovated, or things you all have changed, or, it could be a software, it could be an employee, it could be anything, ways that you all have improved internally.
Well, we've been constantly growing our team. I hired a COO 4 months ago who came from managing 18,000 apartment units, right? So, as you bootstrap things in year 1, 2, and 3, then you start building out the executive team. Like we always talk about, like Brandon Austin, Grant Cardone, we always talk about different break points in companies and businesses, right? And so as you continue to grow and scale, you're going to have team changes, executive team changes, software changes. And so to your point, I'm now systematizing and putting everything on processes where, for example, distributions. We sent out last month, it was $5.2 million. I'll repeat that. We sent out $5.2 million in distributions last month for 1 month. What was the grand total for this year so far? So $45 million we've sent out in distributions. You have to, as you get more investors, as you send out more distributions, you have to start automating all of that. And so over the last 12 months, I've been very, very hard at work systematizing and making that process to where, because I'm not happy at 13,000 units. Grant's not happy at 13,000 investors. We want to grow and scale this thing to where we have 130,000 investors, 130,000 apartments. And so you just have to, you really, but you can't do all that in day one. And so I hope people, like, I know I'm throwing out big numbers and it's fantastic and it's awesome. Like, we all start with one deal. You raise $6 million for a $20 million deal. You get debt at 14 million and you say, let's do the next deal. And then as you build the next deal and then the next deal and the next deal, you build this base to where you now have 13,000 apartments, you have 13,000 investors, and you can go and put some of these processes in place. But don't be discouraged by what I'm saying. Be encouraged, because if Grant Cardone and Ryan Tseko, very simple guys, we keep it very simple. Yeah, we do our research. Yeah, we've done a lot of deals. Yeah, Grant has 35 years of experience. Yeah, Ryan is a captain. Yeah, we have a lot of systems in place. But I'm just telling you, man, all of this stuff, people want great deals. The most important thing in life is always about the deal.
Yeah, no, if you all have done this in 7 years as well, it's very impressive. Most people would be happy with that in 10 or 15, right? So,
yeah, but we have a great team, and a lot of people think, like, I talk about the 30 SEAL Team 30 here in Aventura. We have attorneys, third-party attorneys with, the funds, with the deals. Yeah. We have engineers. We have a lot of third parties that I don't even talk about, that really take a lot of time, energy, and effort to build these relationships. And the way I got those is I was always asking people, who do you use? Who do you use for third-party management? Who do you use for your contracts? Who do you use for your PSAs? Who do you use for your funds? Who do you use? Because you're going to always continue to outgrow. If you're really a Pathfinder, if you're really growing, you're going to continue. Like, most people on this call will be like, man, the attorney didn't give me that piece of advice. Oh, man, the attorney's a little bit slow. Oh, man, well, who's next?
Right.
Because you always have to find who's next, because where you are in your cycle, you're dealing with the same thing, right? You're then like, okay, who's the next team member to get you to 100,000? Who's the next team member to get you to 50,000? Who's the next team member to get you to where you want to go?
Yeah, no doubt about it. No, I find people all the time that's using the same CPA they were using 30 years ago. Like, what are you doing?
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You can't take monkeys to the moon. I mean, you can, but eventually you got to start getting the Neil Armstrongs. Eventually you got to start getting the Ryan Tsekkos. Eventually you got to start getting the Whitneys to go to the moon, baby. Because I'm telling you right now, you got to have some brains behind this stuff.
Ryan, what's your best advice for passive investors right now?
Oh, I'll just say partnerships are overlooked. Collaborations and partnerships. I personally believe, like, I was doing deals by myself. I thought I had to own 100% of all of the deal. I found that owning 2 and 3 and 4% actually fast-tracked me to better quality, bigger deals, better debt, better management team members, and it was less stress on me, because I don't want to be the property manager. I don't want to be the regional manager. I found that I want to be a real estate investor, not a real estate owner, and there's a big difference between being an investor and an operator. And so I hope people hear me out, like, hey, look, whether you're doing it yourself or you're investing in deals, just do it. But don't overlook the power of a partnership, because partnerships in this day and age are going to be the rocket ship. And this is what I believe over the next 10, 20, 30 years, the rules are changing. So we are all now getting access to bigger and better deals that were not available 10 years ago. So find a good partnership, find somebody who you know and trust, and invest. If you really want to do it yourself, collaborate in partnership like I did. When I was 30 years old, I was like, what's next? I didn't go and start Tseko Capital. I went and joined Cardone Capital because I said, put me in, coach. I wanted something bigger, not smaller. And so people don't have to do it by themselves. They can go and become a part of a really, really successful team and actually become bigger and better. Facebook, the top 10 people at Facebook, the top 10 people are much better off at Facebook than they are on their own.
Yeah.
Just hear that.
Yeah, I loved how you used a unique skill set that you had to get into the real estate business, right? And people ask all the time about getting in this space, and I say, you probably have a skill set that other operators need somehow, right? There's something you're good at, and that's exactly what you did, but I've never heard that done as a pilot before, so that's incredible. Ryan, what
There's a first for everything, Whitney. There's a first for everything, you know? And now I got pilots reaching out. They're like, damn, dude, can I come work for you? They're like, man, could I? Because I'm always telling pilots, like I never want to give up what I've worked my butt off my whole life for.
Yeah.
You know, that's why, like last night when I was on Fox News, like I was on Fox News as a pilot, not as a real estate guy, because there's a lot of real estate guys. You have to use the thing you've worked on your entire life. Like there's so many things that are interchangeable and synergistic. Like you guys have to stop thinking with like, oh, it's just one or the other. No. Take who you are, and who you are will add value to an organization if you really want it.
Love that. All right, Ryan, we got to move to a few final questions. What would you say are the most important metrics that you track? Could be personally or professionally or both.
Personally, I track like a lot of health stats. I mean, I wear an Apple Watch, I wear a Whoop band. I mean, I track everything, right? So for me, it's sleep. For me, it's about exercising. For me, it's about relationships. The stats that I, on a very personal level, I write my goals down every single day. It's about health is number one, relationships is number two, and then wealth is number three, in that order. These are things that I track every single day. What I do for my health, what I do for my relationships. Am I around people who are complimenting me? Am I around people who I can compliment them? Because I want to be like, you get to a certain point in time in life where you want to have fun while you're doing it, right? And then the third thing is wealth. Okay, where am I at today? How much did I invest this year? All my money, I like to take all my money, invest it into real estate, so that way the next year I'm getting less taxed. I'm using bonus depreciation to pay less. Like there's these different loopholes in life that most of us never able to take advantage of because why? Because you never invest. The worst thing in the world is never doing something.
Yeah.
From a business standpoint, I track a lot of stuff. I've got a great team, Jim, Andreas, Janae. They send me stats every single morning. How many leads did we get? What's the IRA? What's the conversion rate on this event? How mwhat people did we get commits? What are those commits coming in? Like you have to track every single thing in business. Where are we going? How many deals are we looking at? So see what I'm saying? Like in acquisition, my team is always looking at every single deal in the market. Who's the broker? Every single market. What's their cell number? Every single market. Did we call them? Every single market. So I track everything as I continue to grow and scale and grow with Grant and Cardone Capital and team and Jim and everybody else. We start tracking things more. So don't get bottled up by this, guys. You may not have a lot of things to track at the beginning, but as you continue to get more assets, you start tracking a lot more stuff. From a property level, you start tracking, okay, what's the occupancy? What's the renewal rate? What's the conversion rate? What are the leasing agents doing? Do we need more training in the leasing agents? Because 10X isn't just a brand. 10X Living is a lifestyle. And so we have branded all of our properties 10X Living because we want to have our names. And a lot of people said, hey, don't do the non-accredited. Don't put 10X on the buildings. Don't do this. There's a lot of don't do's. But at the end of the day, if you're doing the right thing and you truly believe in the mission, you want to do those things because people will know you and people will want to live at those communities because you're doing something different.
Love that. No doubt you're going to get pushback when you're pushing in a big way, right? So what about...
People love to build you up. People love to build you up, but they also love to tear you down.
What about some other habits that you do on a daily basis that have just proven a great return for you?
Well, I mean, I got a lot of those, right? I mean, I like to exercise every single day. I do a lot of cardio. I've been doing Barry's boot camp. I do cold plunges. We have a company called 10X Health. Brandon Dawson, Grant Cardone, Gary Brecka, they run that platform. So, we do vitamins. Look, I'm all about wellness. When you operate, like as a pilot, I was always on the front line flying 700 miles an hour, right? I want to be sharp. I don't want to drink. I don't want to smoke. I don't party. These are habits that I do that a lot of entrepreneurs don't talk about. So I don't do those things, but I also do these things where it's like, I don't know if you've seen cold plunges, the amount of dopamine or whatever the thing that it does inside of you. I am willing to do anything and everything as long as it is pure, as long as it is healthy, and as long as I see a reaction coming out of it. Like I was on Fox, now I'm doing this podcast, now I'm doing that podcast. I've got Jim with me, we're gonna go work on deals. I got Grant calling me, work, 2 PSAs. Like these are the types of things that I actually enjoy. And so I'm always setting myself up with my morning routines, with sleeping really great. This is the biggest thing. I want to track my sleep. This Whoop, I bought it because I want to track my sleep. I want to do the things that are right for my body so that way I can perform and show up for my team, because my team is very demanding, because I'm very demanding, because people didn't take us serious, and people aren't going to take you serious, and people aren't going to take the people on this call serious until one day they start taking you serious.
Number one thing that's contributed to your success?
Mentorships. So I've always had a mentor in my life from the beginning. My parents got split when I was 9 years old. My uncle became my mentor when I was 10. He taught me how to work hard. I was on the job sites from 11 years old to 15. He said, if you show up every single weekend and every day when you're off, I'll buy you your first car. That was the carrot. When I was 16 years old, he bought an airplane because he always wanted to be a commercial airline pilot. So my uncle got me into flying. When I was 17 years old, I took a $140,000 loan out to become a pilot, and I found my first mentor. His name was John Bell. He said, son, you don't even know how to tie a tie. I'm going to show you. Son, you don't know how to study. I'm going to show you. The one thing I took from John Bell is he said, Ryan, there's a lot of people who will do what you want to do, but as long as you have a great attitude, you will succeed. And so I took that and I had a great attitude. I was 21 years old. I found my other mentor, his name was Greg Barklage. He was a check airman for the airline that I joined. And he taught me everything he knew within a 3-year span so I could upgrade. Because I was 21 years old. I mean, you got to imagine, I'm wet behind the ears. I'm flying a $40 million jet for United Express. And my mentor, Greg Barklage, he had already flown around the world. He had 25,000 hours. He says, son, you have a lot to learn, but you have a good attitude. He showed me how to wear my hat. He showed me how to button up. He showed me how to show up on time. He showed me how to train. He showed me how to learn. And so at the age of 23 years old, I upgraded to captain. It was a lot of responsibility, but I took it on. And when I started getting to 25 and 26, I started getting these real estate mentors like Robert Kiyosaki, Grant Cardone. And so at the age of 30, Grant was really big on social media. And I said, what's next? And so Grant has been my mentor for the last 9 years. I've been with him almost every single day for the first 5 and 6. I got so valuable where he said, hey, we got to get more pilots because I want Ryan fully focused on Cardone Capital. And so I attribute not just Ryan Tseko having a great attitude, not Ryan Tseko having a great because I'm very like I want a lot, but I've had a lot of great mentors and coaches who have seen that. And, you know, the saying is when you're ready, you know, the mentor will appear. I truly believe in that. So people just need to get ready. People need to listen. People need to check their ego. And that's one thing that I'm good at. I'm not always right, but what I am always right at is I've got a badass team always around me. And that's how I'm able to kick ass. People are like, man, how does Grant do so much? How does Ryan do so much? How does Jim do so much? Well, it's because we have a lot of team members around us that we put a lot of time, energy, and effort to train to make us and to make the investors money and successful. And that's how I've done it, man. I've always wanted to learn. So.
Yeah, I love that. I was going to mention, it sounds like you were one attribute that you had, I think that many do not, is that you're teachable. But I love the importance of attitude. You know, I stress it to my boys all the time. Could not agree with you more. It's incredible that you had these mentors and that they just poured into you. I love even the detail you mentioned of helping you to tie your tie. You know, I mean, that detail, but you being willing to say, you know, yes, sir. All right, this is, you know, coming back the next day with it tied right, or you're wearing your hat the correct way, not just, you know, the importance of flying the $40 million jet, but I mean, down to how you wear your hat. Love that detail and things aren't teachable.
Loose. Yeah, Whitney, you and me both know in life, things aren't loose. You can have fun when things are tight. You know what I mean? Like when you're a professional, when I did my first PA announcement, I was like, welcome aboard United Express flight 32. You know, but when you get on the PA, you're like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard United Express flight 4205 with service to St. Louis. My name's Captain Ryan, assisted with, you know, first officer, whatever it is, right? You start getting this confidence, then you can start having fun with life. You know, hey, you know, joking with the co-pilot, hey, joking with things around and having fun. But people need to get really tight. People need to get really good. And then you could start having fun because you have to get to the point where you're having fun. Otherwise you get the burnout. Yeah. And people are like, well, do you ever get burned out? No, I've never worked a day in my life, folks. Never, because I've always done the things that I've wanted to do. Flying airplanes, being around the best, training with the best, being around Grant Cardone. We're all set to do something great. It's just who's willing to do it. I am.
How do you like to give back?
Charity. So for me right now, I'm working on, so we have GC Foundation, which gives back to kids who are not supported by their families. I'm also working on something big right now where it's giving back to the pilot in the aviation. People have heard me talk a lot about aviation. You know, I want to help people, you know, fly airplanes. I want to help people, you know, whether it's, you know, collaborating with magazines or whatever it is. I have to start giving back even more. but I do give back. I do believe a lot in charity. I do believe that outflow equals inflow. And so I think it's a huge importance for people who are listening to not just hang on to their money and save it, but actually invest it in things that they know, trust, and believe in, because it comes back to you 10x.
Ryan, grateful to have had you on the show. I'm so grateful to have been able to record 2 segments with you, and even diving in from the IR team to what your 10 people are doing every day that are on the IR team, even to tracking in the business, but also tracking personally the importance of attitude and just how teachable you are, the importance of that. Grateful again. Tell the listeners how they can get in touch with you and learn more about you.
Social media, Ryan Tseko, so RYANT. SEKO on like Instagram and YouTube. I'm really building my YouTube channel now. But Cardone Capital, people can find Grant, myself, cardonecapital.com. Again, it's cardonecapital.com. The number they can reach me at is 305-407-0276. Again, I'm not the type of guy where it's like all sticky and, here's this. Like, people, if they have questions, if they want resources, whatever it is, like, I'm always available.
Thank you for being with us again today. I hope that you have learned a lot from the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope you're telling your friends about the Real Estate Syndication Show and how they can also build wealth in real estate. You can also go to lifebridgecapital.com and start investing today.